As the Qatar Grand Prix wound down over the closing laps, there was just one battle left on track. With McLaren botching their pit strategy under the early safety car, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were on a recovery drive. Piastri had done what he could, but trying to find a second lap more than Max Verstappen to even have a chance of overtaking him was never going to happen. Norris, on the other hand, had cars ahead of him that he could overtake, or so everyone thought. Watching the McLaren driver fail to make ground on Andrea Kimi Antonelli for lap after lap, even with the assistance of DRS, must have been painful for his fans. But then, with just one lap left and the Drivers' Championship on the line, Norris made the pass, and the fallout from that has been disgusting. Red Bull and Helmut Marko have come under fire for their comments, and Antonelli has abandoned his social media. It is Nicholas Latifi all over again, and Mercedes and the FIA are not happy. Today, I'll check out the fallout and the consequences of Antonelli's late mistake, so don't go anywhere. So the problems for McLaren at the Qatar Grand Prix began with their decision to not pit both of their drivers under the safety car on lap 7. With Pirelli imposing a 25-lap safety limit on the tyres, that meant anyone who pitted at that time was locked into a rigid strategy with a second stop on lap 32. McLaren explained the decision not to stop their drivers by saying that to do so would rob them of strategic options later in the race. Everyone else, knowing that stopping under the safety car saves time compared to a standard stop, figuring on the difficulty of overtaking around the Losail track, and on the fact that it was a one-stop race in which they were being forced by Pirelli to do two, decided to stop and lock in their track position. This is where the problems began for Norris. The championship leader had been running in third place behind Verstappen and Piastri, but with McLaren deciding not to take the faster pit stop under the safety car, he was eventually shuffled backward as the race went on. After his final stop, Norris came out in fifth place, behind Sainz and Antonelli, and for a long time struggled to pass the Italian. Until, with just over a lap to go, Antonelli ran wide and Norris was able to move ahead. He closed in on Sainz and crossed the line 0.6 seconds behind the Spaniard, for whom a second podium to follow the one in Baku was an extraordinary feat. Antonelli running wide resulted in Norris gaining an extra 2 points, meaning the Briton leads Verstappen by 12 points rather than 10, going into a three-way title decider in Abu Dhabi this weekend. Those 2 points are massive in the championship battle. With the gap at 10, then Verstappen would have won the championship if he won in Abu Dhabi, while Norris finished in third due to having more race wins. With the gap at 12 points, Norris has to finish fourth or lower for a Verstappen win to seal a fifth straight driver's title. The top three drivers in the field are Verstappen, Norris and Piastri, and if anyone else is going to finish in the top three at the final race of this season, things are going to have to go wrong for the leaders. Verstappen's title chances were slim to begin with, but with the gap at 12 points instead of 10, they look as good as nothing. He can't rely on his own skills and Piastri anymore. He needs something to happen to Norris. Max Verstappen's race engineer Gianpiero Lambiase got straight onto the team radio to the Dutchman that it looked like Antonelli had just pulled over and let Norris through after the Italian ran wide at turn 10 on the penultimate lap and lost fourth place to the McLaren driver. While the vast majority of people realised that there was nothing in GP's comments, not all fans have that much common sense, and clearly a large number took what GP said seriously. It wasn't helped by Helmut Marko then being Helmut Marko. The controversial Red Bull advisor piled onto Antonelli after the race. Speaking to Sky Germany, Marko said he felt Antonelli had acted deliberately. He let him pass, it was too flashy. After the race, the fallout of Red Bull's comments fell on Antonelli. The young Italian changed his Instagram profile picture to black on Monday morning after receiving hurtful messages on social media, several of which were death threats, Mercedes said. Before I tell you about Mercedes going to the FIA over the incident and why the blame has to be placed elsewhere, if you want to catch all the news and analysis on the final race of the season this weekend, then make sure to press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. The Mercedes F1 team is set to present social media comments and messages directed to Kimi Antonelli to the FIA after the Italian suffered online abuse. While his latest Instagram post has various messages of support, there have also been comments of criticism for the rookie driver. Over 1,100 severe or suspect comments were flagged by the team's community management tools on Antonelli's accounts, with several of them being death threats or wishing harm upon him. Additionally, over 330 severe comments were flagged across Mercedes accounts. It is a matter Mercedes is taking very seriously, and it will present the comments to the FIA as part of its United Against Online Abuse campaign. A Mercedes spokesperson said Lambiase had apologized to Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff, who had confronted him after the race about the comments. Wolff said after the race that the comments were brainless. "This is total utter nonsense. That blows my mind even to hear that. We are fighting for P2 in the Constructors' Championship, which is important for us. Kimi is fighting for a potential P3. How brainless can you be to even say something like that?" It annoys me because I'm annoyed with the race itself, how it went. I said to GP that there's quite a social media storm. He said, "Sorry if I caused that, I didn't see the incident." A Red Bull statement issued on Monday said, "Comments made before the end of and immediately after the Qatar Grand Prix suggesting that Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli had deliberately allowed Lando Norris to overtake him are clearly incorrect. Replay footage shows Antonelli momentarily losing control of his car, thus allowing Norris to pass him. We sincerely regret that this has led to Kimi receiving online abuse." Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko has also acknowledged Kimi Antonelli did not let Lando Norris through for position at the Qatar Grand Prix, backtracking on his previous statement. Marko told F1 Insider, "I've looked at the footage again very carefully. The first time, Antonelli could have put a bit more of a fight. The second time, it was a driver error and not intentional. I'm sorry that Antonelli got so much criticism online." Marko added, "To make it perfectly clear, he didn't let Norris pass intentionally." Obviously, Red Bull have realized their mistake. They shouldn't be making accusations against other drivers in the way they did. At the same time though, they can't be held accountable for other people's actions. They didn't access the social media accounts of 1,000 or so Verstappen fans to send hateful messages or death threats to Antonelli. The people sending those messages have to be held to account. It was the exact same situation when Nicholas Latifi crashed at the 2021 title decider, bringing out the late safety car, which eventually was a deciding factor in the title battle. Latifi had to hire security for his family after the police deemed the death threats he received from Hamilton fans as credible enough to be investigated. Fans need to have the common sense and general decency to realize that sending abusive and threatening messages is never okay. The problem F1 and the FIA have is how they deal with it. Obviously, social media platforms should do more to stop their sites being used for abuse. But what can the sport do about it? Well, not a huge amount. F1 could have not included GP's radio messages in the global broadcast, but, like GP, they probably didn't realize how the message would have been taken. Here in the UK, when fans send threatening or racist messages on social media to football players, they can receive stadium bans and be taken to court. It's harder for F1 to do that. Fans are based all around the world, with different countries having different legal standpoints on online abuse. Also, the vast majority of F1 fans will never go to a race. Banning them from buying tickets does nothing. While Red Bull cannot be held accountable for the actions of a small number of their fans, they do have to do better to try and not incite that kind of behavior. Do you think there is anything that the FIA or F1 could do to stop this situation happening again? Or should the onus be on the teams to not say things that might encourage this behavior? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.